sun-kissed mountain mist in just 4 hours. That's so Sri Lanka.
When dolphins and whales swim around you all year so you can visit them at any time? That's so Sri Lanka.
When a bicycle ride in the countryside is one long roadside party of board games, quirky friends, and the world's best cup of tea, that is so Sri Lanka.
When every sunset is an aphrodisiac and the nights command you to dance them away. That's so Sri Lanka.
When you can marvel at elephants in the morning
and then meet some exotic birds, bears, and leopards for lunch.
That's so Sri Lanka.
When you can get an eye full of paradise on a heart full of adrenaline in a single afternoon.
That's so Sri Lanka.
When people brave dizzying heights to taste a buzz of fresh, warm toddy.
That's so Sri Lanka.
When feasting together makes you family, so we take every opportunity to indulge. That's so Sri Lanka.
When time slows down and urges you to as well.
So you can soak up the full magic of cultural treasures at every turn.
Storied street food made with love for 3 millennia.
360 degrees of ocean.
365 days a year.
Hugging lush forests, misty meadows, secret waterfalls, and ordinary Wednesdays.
That is so Sri Lanka.
When you surrender to every minute,
becoming your new favorite memory
on Earth's favorite island.
So wild,
so pristine,
so scenic,
so thrilling,
so spiritual,
so bold,
so colorful. That's so Sri Lanka.
श्री देव भगवतो मुनिराज सरना भक्त कुंद कृत कुंद जिन कुंद वर्णा भद कमल मुदुनति मुनिवन्वाना तित जेगु श्री पद्म वंदामि सतता
Tana tane tanane, tane nane na, ne na. Tana tana.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your hosts for today, Dr. Asita Naikar, the chair of the local organizing committee and the consultant chief technology officer of Lanka Education and Research Network, and Professor Roshan Raghav, the consultant chief executive officer of Lanka Education and Research Network.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's an absolute honor and a privilege to be standing here um, on another installation of APAN meeting. It's quite humbling to address such an august gathering. So let me start by saying welcome to Colombo, Sri Lanka, and welcome to APAN56. Prashant?
But what? Not a welcome. I thought we already had a welcome with a dance. No?
Well, yes
Okay.
and no. That's part of the welcome,
All right. All right.
right? Um, you were greeted before us with what is known as a puja dance. It's a ceremonial dance to seek the blessings of the guardian deities of the land. It's an ancient customary ritual to seek the blessing of the sacred deities with a dance performance before you start any work. So we thought it is quite apt to start the proceedings of APAN 56 with such a traditional homage.
Okay. Okay. That sounds good. Right. So now it's the time for official welcome. And to welcome you all officially to APAN 56, APAN's captain of the ship, uh, APAN chairman, will invite Professor Jilang Wang to welcome you all officially. Professor Jilang Wang, over to you. Yes, please.
So there, Professor Yudavasa, the chairman of Lanka Education and Research Network, LIN, and their honored guests, esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to APAN 56. My mood at the moment is just as beautiful as the scenery in Sri Lanka, because we met again, because the epidemic has passed, and also because for APAN, we are welcome a new era. So we have new APAN general manager, and we will have new APAN board and a new chair. And also today, as always see, we have many new and young faces, which means new ideas, new visions, and a new bright future of APAN. So for this APAN meeting, just as like the two learn the CEO, the CTO, just like they mentioned, this is the second APAN meeting hosted by Lanka. The last time is APAN 34. I think it's 11 years ago. So now we come again. And the Lanka Education and Research Network LIN, it's a very important partner of APAN for many years. And as the National Education and Research Network LIN, they have laid built advanced network infrastructure between education and the scientific research institution. And it's a indispensable link between education and scientific research. They actively participate in international cooperation and contribute a lot to Asia Pacific area. And as the host of this conference, Lin has devoted great efforts for the preparation for organization of these events. So it's their wisdom and dedication that gave us the opportunity to share, exchange, and discuss in this platform. And also, they actively participate um, in APAN, I think it's all APAN events activities. So as I just propose, let's just express our appreciation to learn to local organization committees for their great jobs. Thank you. So APAN 56 is a special meeting. Not only special for its venue, but also special content. We have a series of keynote speech, seminar, and training courses. So, and there will be 5 exciting keynotes occur in this meeting. If the speakers is at the meeting, so please stand up and accept our welcome. There are 3 international keynote speakers. Rene Bosch, is there? Yeah, thank you. So Rene is Senior Enterprise Architect, NTT Germany, and the former CEO of NoduNet. Yeah. Really somewhere. Yeah. And Dr. Rosie Tecano. Thank you. So Rosie, he is a senior researcher of Institute of International Industry and Technology, East Japan. And Professor Simon C. Simon?
Don't you just stand up? Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. He's from a very popular enterprise today, Inveda. Yeah. And for Simon is the chief solution architect and the global head of Inveda AI Technology Center. We have 2 local keynote speakers. They are Professor Ranjit Senarendra. Ranjit. I'm not if I didn't spell correct. Yeah, he is the national chairman of National Science Foundation, Sri Lanka, and the senior professor of crop science, University of Rahuna, and the former vice chancellor, University of Rahuma. And another one is Professor Udit K. Jayan Singh Madalaj. Yeah. And I think he is the vice chancellor of Vayamba University of Sri Lanka and a senior professor of agribusiness management department, Vayamba University of Sri Lanka. Okay, so 26 years ago, we co-founded APAN. As an international organization, APAN brought together outstanding institutions and scholars from countries in Asia-Pacific region in the field of academic networks, and together we explored the development path of Internet, constantly sought innovative solutions, and paint the blueprint of the Internet with the world. That's the history. And today, the world has entered the new era, the AI era, and the opportunity and the challenges coexist. So the success of ChatGPT is not only because of the big model, but also because of internet. If no internet, I think no big model. So in the future, it's not the robot, but the internet that may threaten human civilization. So someone just talk about the silicon civilization. Yeah. So I think because internet not only control the online world, but also control the physical world. So once the internet is highly intelligent, it's dangerous. So in such a big era, APAN needs to find a new important position and seek new development with new contributions. So we have special assignment to everyone. So I hope everyone make at least one suggestions about the future development of APAN. So please send email to APAN56 to express your ideas. The more difficult, the more challenging, the better. So don't worry about me. I'm not worried about it's difficult to implement because I will return. And regarding our appreciation, the APAN program committee and the technical committee, general manager, APAN-SEC, area chairs, working group chairs, and session chairs, they work very hard to ensure the success of this meeting. So I also propose let's express our appreciation to them. And also, let's thank our sponsors for giving strong support to this meeting. They are gold sponsor, Lanka Education and Research Network, LEARN, and telecommunication partner, Sri Lanka Telecom, and the silver sponsor, Asia Connect, and the bronze sponsor, Internet Society Foundation, APNIC, NCI Australia, Cisco Systems, and Inflow Technologies. And we also have Asian partners contribute very much. They are Singaporean and Billion. And also the local media partner, Ida Darona 24, and also appreciate. Thank you very much. And finally, I would like to thank everyone who participated in the meeting again. On the stage of gathering wisdom in APAN, let's join hands closely, continue to practice the vision of openness, equality, cooperation, and sharing, fully share ideas and exchange cultures. So Sri Lanka is known as the Tears of Job and the Pearl of Indian Ocean. The rich culture and history of Colombo serves as a fitting backdrop for our discussion and exchange that will take place over the coming days. So hope you all have a wonderful and enriching experience in Colombo. Let's look forward to the complete success of this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Wong, for those beautiful words. Any institution will be lost without the right person at the helm to guide and support you. It is not so different for Lanka Education Research Network as well, especially as the host of APAN 56.
It gives me a great pleasure to invite our Chairman Learn, Senior Professor Chandan Odawatha, to address you all and welcome you all to APAN 56 and also Sri Lanka. Sir, over to you.
Right. Very good afternoon to everybody. So, Mr. Professor, one, the chairman of APAN, and especially the delegations from foreign countries, and learn staff, starting from Professor Roshan and Ajita Bandaranayake and the rest of the members of the board, and my colleagues, university academics, and also the learned staff. And I see a lot of people are coming from different universities in Sri Lanka. So, and also the ladies and gentlemen. It is in great pleasure to me being invited to grace this occasion as Professor Roshan said, as the chairman of the lab. I have some messages to you. This event was organized by the Learn, sponsored by the Learn, and then our education minister, Dr. Sushil Premjant, was invited, but unfortunately, he's out of the country for the time being. He will be coming down to Sri Lanka on Friday, mid-Friday. And Honorable State Minister of Education, Dr. Suren Raghavan, was invited. About just 1 hour ago, I got a telephone call from him. He has to attend the parliament today because the parliament house is sitting today. He will be going there. He has to. But he will be gracing your event Thursday or Friday. And similar, the UGC University Grant Commission, Sri Lanka, the chairman of UGC Grant Commission, Senior Professor Sampath Amaratunga, was also invited as a chief guest, but he also summoned to the parliament. He asked me to give his excuses for you not being present here. So as Professor Roshan said, of course, I'm the Learn chairman, but eventually I'm the vice chairman, University Grant Commission. So automatically, by default, the vice chairman, whoever the vice chairman would be the Learn chairman. So first of all, I feel extremely glad to welcome every one of you to this very, very important APAN56 meeting, the Asia Pacific Advanced Network meeting. I came to know that I was told, so 2 meetings per year. So this year, the second meeting is in Colombo. Just a couple of months ago, I think, the first meeting was held in Kathmandu. So this prestigious event, so we are lucky to host this time in Sri Lanka, Colombo. So this brings experts together and also researchers and leaders of the networking, information technology. So you will be meeting here and then you will discuss. So this is going to be excellent platform to exchange your ideas, exchange your experience, and have new collaboration among professionals from various countries or various sectors. So it promises to be a rewarding experience. The keynotes presentation, I have seen there several keynotes are lined up already, and parallel sessions were organized. This gives the opportunity to connect with the leaders across Asia Pacific region. I came to know that even this conference having participation from abroad online. So I heard that around 150 participants are joining from all over the world, even America and Europe. So we hope that the, the ideas developed here will definitely lead to increase multidisciplinary and multinational cooperation or collaboration among our academics, especially the junior academics. So during the board meetings, we were discussing those things, and Professor Ragavan and Dr. Asita Bandanaka, we opened this conference for local participation. So some of my colleagues are also here. I'm glad to see. However, I don't know whether that number is reached or not. So with the encouragement note, there is the most of students can now access the digital technology. So earlier days, we used to teach the student with the blackboard and chalk. But now in Sri Lanka even, we are giving smart classes. Even the very rural areas, we are trying our level best to give it. Then even in the rural areas or underdeveloped districts, the students, school students, they used to have this digital technology. So we hope that this will lead to strengthening of the research culture among students, so they can individually and collectively provide creative and innovative solution for today's problem. Everybody knows that in 2020, the early 2020, we got a COVID-19 pandemic. It it oh it messes the entire world, not only Sri Lanka. Then most of countries were locked down, even Sri Lanka. So I should keep this note here. So the Learn had taken the initiatives to establish Zoom video conferencing facilities to each university for their member, like 17 universities. So you have given the free of charge. The data was given from two students free of charge, especially the telecom and dialogue. So countries leading telecommunication partners. So in view that, so using that that data and the free service, so we had no problem of giving lectures. It was very new to even to me also. I have said this one a couple of times. So before I come to University Grant Commission, in that time particularly, so I was teaching at another national university. So I was also asked to do the lecturing online. So it was not used for me. It's a very new thing. And however, so immediately after, because I remember 17th March 2020, we closed down the schools as well as the universities. But the next Monday onwards, so we have already started doing lecturing. Students had a problem of finding data, especially from rural area. But however, we managed to uh, we managed to do the lecturing on time. So therefore, when the country is open after the pandemic, so we had no backlog. We start our proceedings or we start our academic work immediately after opening the universities. Some other government institutes, they took another 2 more months to become a normal situation. However, university was not affected due to this online teaching, which is initiated by Learn Group. So, on behalf of the entire university system, I would like to thanks in front of you for your dedicated service. So, first of all, I have to now welcome, especially the foreign delegates. The first, we have the APN chairman is here. Your presence is very valuable. We greatly appreciated your presence here. And also, I see a lot of foreigners, foreign academics, experts, and maybe a giant in your system, giants. So, I would like to welcome all of you in one shot. Thank you very much visiting Sri Lanka. Some of you may be first time, some of you may be 10 or 12 time. Because if you come to Sri Lanka, you never forget that one. You try to come it again and again. So this is a real time however, you are in Colombo, but in Kandy, where they come from, that's a nice, beautiful parrot. How can we say? We call in Sinhala Dalada Perhara. So I would like to request or I would like to invite you to be there to see this beautiful festival, you can say. Anyway, I would like to welcome every one of you to this very, very important meeting. And the meantime, I would like to welcome the people who are in abroad and joining together with the online facilities. Right, I don't want to take much of your valuable time. So I was informed by Professor Ragal, around 200 plus participants are here and 100 plus participants are joining online this meeting with from more than 25 countries, Asia Pacific region, all the countries from Asia Pacific region, and some people are joining from US and Europe and other countries. So I would like to thank all the teams that work very hard to implement this APN 56th meeting during this very challenging time. So our foreign friends may know that our country is having an economic crisis in these days. So we are trying to come out from that. So this type of event is also very good. And the challenge in time in our country, not only our country, but the international. Further, I would like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude towards you all who sincerely contributed to this event in order to make this its success. So this won't be reality if you all do not give the support. But I know that without your support, each of one of you, so this APN 56 is not going to be a success. However, I see a very nicely organized everything, and things are in order on time. That is most important thing. And then I was informed, and you had a very nice boat trip in yesterday night, and tonight and day after. So you may have some time to see some wonders in Sri Lanka. So within 1 or 2 days. So I hope you all will enjoy the time in Sri Lanka. So again, wishing all the best for your future endeavors. I conclude my small speech, and I wish all the best for you, everybody, and have a very pleasant evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your words of wisdom and your continuous guidance and support of Learn. Moving on, so Roshan, a couple of quick questions to you, especially as CEO of Learn. We know that Learn has a long history and has been one of the biggest players in the ICT landscape of Sri Lanka. So, how do you view Learn's role so far?
That's a good question, Asita. In fact, the concept of learn started way back, uh, somewhere in 1990s, late 1998.
80s.
Yeah,
80s. 80s.
1988. Sorry. Yeah, thank you for fixing. Yeah, 1988. That is about 35 years ago. So 35 years ago, a few of our forefathers thought about, maybe at that time it was not called National Research and Education Network, but the concept of universities coming together and forming a group. And the proposal was submitted to the government in 1989, about 33 years ago, and accepted. And since then, we have Lanka Education and Research Network. So it's a very long history. And since 2009, we are a company limited by guarantee, which basically means we are a not-for-profit company. And as of now, we have all the state universities, like our chairman mentioned, all the state universities which are part of Learn. We have 17 in the country, 17 state universities. And we also have a lot of others, like other research institutions, a few private institutions, private education research institutions. Altogether, we have about 60, 60 members, and we have 100 plus connections. And the bandwidth, the backbone is about 40 gigabits per second is what we have. Right, so that's where we are right now. Yeah. And we also do a lot of services like Chairman mentioned, we are doing Zoom, and we also do all this like usual, the EduRoam, EduGain, federated identity through federated identity of Learn and so on. So, yeah, so we are doing quite okay. Yeah,
that's fascinating, Roshan. Yeah, and we are indeed immensely grateful to our predecessors who have laid foundation to be where we are today. Right. So, Roshan, what do you see? Where do you see Learn in the next 5-10 years? What's the vision you have?
Okay. So the vision for Learn, in fact, time and again, what we are realizing by meeting other friends around the globe, particularly in the region, what we are realizing, or at least I'm realizing, is that this network part of the network, we have the physical network, the computer network, and then the people network. So the people network is the most important aspect, I feel, right? So that's, in fact, like it's influenced by a lot of people here, right? So I have been with the APAN community for the last 7 years. Yeah, 7 years, and I learned a lot from all of them, right? So, and something that I realized is it's just about people, right? So the people network is the most important aspect. And with the people network, we can do transformations, yes. Things like digital transformation that we are talking about, the digital transformation of education and research. But technology can come in and go. People network is what is going to make the difference. And particularly in a situation like National Research and Education Network, so Research and Education Network, it's more about people. It's more about how we know people from other places so we can put them together, do more research. All type of cutting edge research are done in collaboration, not in isolation, right? So therefore, that is our vision. So it is just um, taking it further, right? So we already see a lot of research and education networks or RENs in the region are taking these steps and going towards connecting with each other, making friends, making people network. We are going to see an example towards the end of today's session as well, the MOU that's going to be signed. It's between people, not between networks, by the way, right? So that's the most important aspect. And as learned, we wanted to take it further as much as possible with all the support from everyone else locally, within the country. Can we put our researchers and academics together? And across the region and the world, can we put people together from here to outside, wherever it is, within the region, within the Asia Pacific region, or globally? Yeah, that's our vision.
That's fascinating, Roshan. I mean, that's a quite exciting vision you have, not just for Learn, but for the research and education community in Sri Lanka and in the region. Not just that, we believe that it'll help rebuilding Sri Lanka and the national development as well. Now, talking about the role of an NREN in the national development, there's no better person to talk about that than Rene Bach, the former CEO of Nodunet, who has been supporting the countries around Asia and Africa to come up and set up their networks, set up these collaborations, Roshans were talking about, who's also our keynote speakers for us today. Roshan, please be kind enough to formally introduce
Okay, one more formal introduction. Right. So formal introduction, how do I do it, right? I'll take a paper and I'll read it out, right? We want to make it formal. I can make an informal introduction to Rene anytime, but here is a formal one, Rene. Right. So I'm going to do a formal introduction. So we have Rene here, who has been serving as who served as a CEO of Nordinet for 16 years. That's pretty a lot of time, actually, right? And then during that time he has like so Nordinet's visions of things like advanced telecommunication ICT solution to European and Nordic research and education community. He has worked on that, and in his capacity, he kicked off knowledge exchange program for emerging NRENs. That's what Asita was mentioning about. So he particularly worked in South Asian countries like ours, and other countries like Bangladesh and various other countries, Nepal and so on, and also in Africa. Right, so that's what he did, and now he's at the same time during that period he also was a CTO for European Open Science Clouds Association, promoting open science in Europe. So currently, Rene is serving as a senior enterprise architect for research and education for NTT Germany. So delivering tailored ICT solution for Germany's RNE community. So previously, Rene filled several other senior roles, and it's my pleasure to have him here and also talk about NREN's roles. Right. So that's pretty apt. And Rene, over to you. Sebastian. Your clicker.
Thank you. Thank you for giving the chance to come and be a good old friend again.
Maybe the mic. Just still turn this on.
I'm going to try.
The other one, yeah, good.
They can probably hear me anyway.
Yeah.
But if you now expect me to give it a chat about how good the Nordics is, how good Nordnet was, you will be disappointed. I try to take a little bit different approach because I was to speak about why emerging element collaboration is good for this region. Let me see if I can figure this one out. So I've taken 3 different subjects in here. Why collaboration is essential, especially for emerging elements. What is a prerequisite for having a good collaboration? And I'll put some stories in the end to show that it actually pays off to work together. But first, a bit of stat. It's always good to have a bit of idea where you're coming from. So I'm taking 3 pictures from World Bank, one showing GDP per capita over the world, and it's clearly that it's quite unevenly distributed on this planet. Then I'm also taking another picture over the upper right. Is a population in the age of 20 to 24, because you can see that that is actually in the different part of the world where you see the high GDP. And then I also take the general population down on the right thing. The reasons why I did that, because NRENS is, we talk a lot about research, but another part of that is education. And I think it is one of the most important things that we had to deal with for this region. I'm taking some more statistics in. I looked at the demographics for 3 of the countries around here. I'm sorry there were not space for all of them. So I'm taking Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Nepal. And then I've taken 2 countries that I'm quite familiar with, Germany, where I live, and Canada. And as you can see, it's 2 very different sets of problems that the countries are facing. If I'm looking at Germany as an example, you can see we have a very high degree of elderly people. And in principle, Germany are missing roughly 400,000 people per year in terms of supporting the growth and the maintenance of the country, and the same do for Canada. Canada last year had about 1.2 million immigrants, which is quite astounding if you look at the size of Canada. At the same time, if you go to look at the countries in this part of the world, you see actually the opposite, that you have a very young population. This means that there's a lot of people you need to educate, and also a lot of people where that needs jobs. Part of this imbalance in the world is actually also detrimental to some of the economies out here, because you give people good education, and where do they go? They go here. That is, of course, nice for Germany and Canada and the others who are benefiting for this, but it's not good for this region. It's not good for countries that are the primary donors of this to keeping Germany, Canada, and others growing and sustaining the imbalance that we saw before. And I think looking at education and creating jobs is a key word, a key way of changing it, because of course everybody looks for a better life, but the real key to sustainability in the countries in the Southeast Asian and Africa and other places are that people are educated, they have jobs, and they have a future. And therefore we need to keep talent in the countries. So getting back to the subject, this was a bit of a sidetrack, but I think it's a basis for our discussions. Why is collaboration essential? Unite to have a larger voice and a greater visibility, especially in a region where you have multiple large players. I'm not dissing China, I'm not dissing India, you have your own problems, but I come from Denmark. We have a very big neighbor down south, Germany, and I can tell you, apart from that, we are a nice surfing ground for them. They don't care much about Denmark. And I'm sure dealing with their own problems, you will see the same in this region here. So working together makes sense. And then one other things that I would like to focus on here is that common development and operations, um, especially in a region, but that just not goes for region, but virtually goes for all enrons. And I think there's a paradigm we need to see change. We cannot, all of us, produce the same services parallel to each other. We need to develop common development and common operations. We need to see how we can use the skills of each country, each enron, each organization to the best. It doesn't make sense that everybody needs a NOC. It doesn't make sense that everybody needs their own data center, or that we need to do this little 5% twist to make it whatever country in that sense. That I personally, from my point of view, is a sickness that needs to be eradicated, because I think that is keeping us from growing better and better services. Common ownership and influence on services, because we heard, and it's also in my examples, the success that came out of the program with having Zoom in the pandemic period here. But Zoom is a commercial provider. Is there other things we can do? Things will change over time, and working together, giving the size and operation to a much more sustainable level, I think is important. That was also something that we've been discussing earlier. There's another point here. I stole this map from Submarine Cable map, and you see a lot of lines here. You also see them marginally touched in some countries, but in generally, if you look at the connectivity from part of this region, you are either bypassed or it's very expensive. You're like you're customers of very large telcos in the region that has a very for-profit approach in that sense. And one of the things that we saw, and I get to the example later on, when we started working together with Singaren, when we started together working with the Japanese and others, when we went to the commercial providers together, we got a 16-fold, 16 times price decrease by working together. But that, of course, requires that you have a certain amount of strength, that you have a certain amount of government backing. But if you do that, you can create a better infrastructure so that Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, and the others, Vietnam, Thailand, etc., are not at the dark end of the street. Sorry for saying that, because I come from the Nordic. We reached the North Pole and we were always on the dark end of the street, because that we were always on the side street. But if you work together, you can actually come up with enough money and enough backing that you can have real negotiations with the telecommunication providers. But you need to work together, because if you come on your own, you don't have that leverage. Then another part of this is that spearheading innovation beyond national borders. Innovation is important, new services, new technologies. I see the region, I see Bangladesh growing quite substantially right now. Sri Lanka has some challenges from a financial point of view. I don't think it's because people don't work here. On the contrary, I think it's because of other probably political issues in that sense. But in generally, all countries have their own challenges. But if you keep creating services, if you keep creating jobs locally, you will also see the region grow. You will foster fast, if you work together, you will have better knowledge development and diversity across the region. It was mentioned a bit by some of my friends here before that this part of this collaboration that we see right now came up from an emerging environment program that was spearheaded by Nordnet some years ago. The importance there was not that it was coming from Nordnet. The important part of that knowledge development and diversity of all the regions, that it brought people together. It brought Karma from Bhutan together. It brought Roshan from Sri Lanka together. We had Raja from Nepal. We had Taurid from BDRN, and these were the guys who saw the light of this working together, because without their work, without their tenacity, you wouldn't have had the services during COVID that you have today. So it's also about leadership, and don't forget that it's about the people. So I think this is important, creating that type of network also. So that leads to the building the personal network across the region, helping each other, also do the communication to the governments, make the governments understand what this means. And last but not least, my good friend Jim Gatbain from Canada says, when people ask me, why do I need an NREN? It's very simple. It's your ticket to be a part of a global community. That's a ticket for your researchers to have access all over the globe to leverage not just your own investment, but investment from all of these players that have spent a lot of money all over the planet. So having a good functioning NREN, having a good focus and community is your ticket to be part of the global game. So, but there are also a bunch of prerequisites to get to that point. And there are also some pitfalls that I'll try to address later. Common ground. Realize the benefit of working together that needs to outperform the narrow organization or national mindset. You need to realize that for a region that consists of many countries, many different backgrounds, coming to a common ground is a big step, and you have many different challenges, but try analyze the benefit and see what you get out of it. And it makes a lot more sense that you work together than you just look at your narrow organizational issues. The organizational national interest, I think, is a bigger threat to growing that. I've seen that in other parts of the world, that suddenly boards change, persons change. We have seen a lot of very committed leaders in the NREN community that are either leaving for greener fields or retiring or deciding to play golf, and others come in. Succession planning is important, but it's also important that the people at the helm of providing it actually can look at that. The board members are important, and we really need to have that answered. Having the right strategy. And this is what is going to be the next part. I've been thinking a lot about this. How do we get forward? We had a bunch of very, very good people that were very committed, that put in a lot of energy, that put the emerging NRENs for the Southeast Asian region where they are today. Next step is not depending on others, but being self-sufficient, self-sustained. For that, you need a strategy. And I started on a presentation after the meeting in Kathmandu and says, well, you need a strategy both for the countries, but you also need a strategy together. So where are we today? Who's your customers? What do your stakeholders say? How is your founding? How is your organization? And you need a critical eye on that. I'll skip to that one. The brutal reality is what I call it. So have a step out of your own comfort zone. Look at the organization. Look at the customers. Are your customers happy? Are they happy because it's free, or you have the right price, or you have a wrong product? What are your customers saying? What do your stakeholders say? Where do you get the funding from? Is your organization well funding? Do we have a flow through? What is our churn in that sense of people? And what services do we have now? And you need to take that brutal reality and not being self-satisfied with what you achieve, but saying, what is the reality right now? Then you need to look at what are the opportunities? Can we gather new customers? I think there's a lot that the NRENs can do that is not being necessarily explored right now within medicine, e-health, and others, where you could reuse some of the stuff. What are the market trends? What do we see from other parts of the planet that we have? Are there new stakeholders? Are there new funding? Do we need to change the organization to grow? Yes. No matter what you are, when the organization evolves over time, there will be changes, and the changes are really, really hard to manage. So which opportunities do we foresee in the current organization? How do we develop the organization is also important. Part 3, you need to dream. You need to have what is our wildest scenario, and you need to get your team together, your stakeholders together, and dare think your wildest thought. Because to be honest, when I started at Nordnet, we were 4 people. We got to Nordnet where it was, when I left, was definitively a dream. And also because we dared try new things. And I think that's enormously important. Which customers we'd like to sort in 5 to 10 years? How would the ideal funding model be? How should our dream organization look like? What do we need to get there? Which service would the dream for the customers be? I got a question when I got to ESC Association, and it says, Rene, what service should we offer our researchers in Europe? And I said, well, that's very simple. A service they are willing to pay for. Because if they're willing to pay for it, then they're also needed and not just something we want to stuff down their throat. So then step 4 of this process is realizing our dream. Who is a key organization we need to lobby from the government? Who is the key people in the organization? How can we organize? Sorry, that fell out. And all these type of things we need to do to get to the next step. And I think this is ties down to one end in this one here is we have the right leadership and the commitment to execute, and that we keep having the importance of the long term, not just the short term, but a long term regional focused mindset of how we work together. This is the way you succeed, because if you just stick to your own organization, if you only stick to your own country, you will have a much rougher path to develop your country and avoid that you young and qualified people are leaving. And so examples. This is a bit of statistic I stole from Taurid in that sense about all the classes that were supported. This has been shown at a previous conference. Over 3 million classes were supported during COVID. If that's not a success, then nothing is a success. If we look at it, that these 5N realized that we need to work together, that we created several places where we do have servers, that is not just one single point, but that we actually work together. This is a good example of success. That we start looking at diversity and inclusion. This is more important you think. 50% of your population is female. If you don't give them the right choices to develop and be part of the community, they will eventually leave. And they will eventually take their husbands with them, because we all know it's when the women leaves, the men also have a tendency to follow them. We are a little bit weak on that point. This is extremely important. That's also why that was a part of the BELISAC project, where we focused on both on engineers and giving them a chance to have a chance to explore this world, and also have 120 person months of internship, so they get a chance. And I really hope that this will be follow up, that this is not just a passing event funded by Nordnet and Asia Connect, but this is going to be a sustainability, because if you don't take that in, you will lose 50% of your most valued resources. So what were the driving force behind these achievements? That driving force was the team, the longest association, the strong bonding that we created between the people that participated in the project. It was not the access to the conference. It was not getting a number of Zoom licenses. That was just the mere instruments. The strong instruments was putting people together, making them collaborate and support each other. And the success story that came out of that was exactly what I've been throwing you. But it's not just about these 5, because we have other successful collaborations. I've been in this community for 20 years now. And initially, going transatlantic was, you did it on your own, you had single in that sense. A number of us got together and started thinking on AER. How can we make this cheaper? How can we make it redundant? That's how, no, not AER, ANA come to life. And I think that was an idea of 4 or 5 people. How can we maximize this? And then we got to the next part. How can we actually interact between Asia Pacific and Europe, and also onwards to US? I didn't have a picture that covered all of it. I stole this from Nojonet. Sorry. But that is also a good example of when people work together, because if you go back to before 2019, the collaboration around connectivity in Asia Pacific could have been improved. And people got together also because there were a number of people that saw that as a good Francis Lee and a bunch of others, and that has now evolved additionally. Then also another example, in the field stories. There's an idea coming out of the CEO forum, trying to find a place where we can communicate the benefits of Enron and the stories. That would never have happened if only one organization should come out with it. This came out of a bunch of people sitting together and making this available, not just for their own organization, but for everybody. So this I find so interesting. I put the case stories in because the presentation is going to be available, so you can always go and dig in. But my message is here: work together, be together, connect together, and be open-minded how you can actually achieve more for your community. Thank you.
We want you to be
Thank you
there.
very much, Renee, for that wonderful speech and showing us the way. Please come back on stage. Let me request, invite Professor Roshan Ragel to present a token of appreciation to Mr. Rene Buck. Roshan. So Rene, this is
Come to the
traditional Sri Lankan
That's something
Raksha
special.
mask. The Raksha
Something
means
special, yeah.
demon, which the mask is considered to be a apotropaic, which means it's intended to ward off evil and bring good luck. And we hope and wish it will do the same to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, from a global perspective and vision to something more local, APAN56. As I mentioned at APAN55, for whoever that was there, hosting APAN56 came to us very suddenly. We took the challenge, especially since there were no takers for APAN56, even as late as November last year. Now, Roshan, I could not ask this from you before, but you knew that I would say yes when you asked me, shall you do it, right? Why were you so keen to host this, even though that you knew that the timing was so tight?
Obviously, yeah. I know, like you and my team, right? So we are not going to say no, obviously, for multiple reasons. One, for the excitement, right? And the other one is we can do it, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So we can do it. So we can do it in the sense we can plan, execute. And I just wanted to show that it's possible with a good team, again, people together, and with all the support of this larger community, it's all possible.
Yeah.
That's what we did. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, you wanted to, you looked at the benefit to the country, both in academically research as well as economically as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Obviously, yeah. I feel like I'm talking to a mirror, except for the looks, of course. Now, as mentioned, we started knowing very well that it's going to be very, very tight, time wise, planning and arranging this. So what did we do about that? We just went on and added more and more features to APAN56, like the APAN56 conference. Roshan, would you like to elaborate on that?
Yeah. So the conference part of it, there's a lot of confusion about it, even particularly among everyone. We have this APAN meeting, and then we have something called APAN56 conference. So the idea is, in fact, like the conference part of it is a typical research conference. In fact, in the APAN program committee, we were discussing about such a conference for a very long time, and we had tried it out as well. We had tried out something research, so extending network into research. So we had tried it out, and in the last meeting, the program committee meeting, that happened in Nepal, that topic came up again. Shall we? You also there.
Yes.
So what the discussion was? Can we try this conference thing out? Yeah, we just have 6 months or not even six, right? So
Yeah, not
yeah, so 6 months. Why don't we try out a conference, right? So usually those who are in the academic and research will know planning a research conference. We normally do it in a cycle in a year, so it takes about a year. You start from a call for paper, you find the publisher, you find reviewers, technical program committee, all sort of different things. But we said, okay, let's have some excitement. And and during that meeting, during the APAN55 meeting, there were also discussions about what's the best topic. Okay, AI is coming up, and as NRENs, we all are supporting high performance computing with the infrastructure, with the network, and obviously with people. So we came up with the theme of AI and high performance computing together. And that was the theme for this year's conference. And then I had to execute it. I said at the meeting, program committee meeting, yeah, let's look at it. So I had to execute it. Again, I had to go to more people. So what I did, there's a team who worked tirelessly on making the conference possible, starting from having a call for papers, findings, or even starting from conference chairs, right? So conference chairs, we won't have conference chairs. Okay, somebody said, okay, why don't you also be a chair? I thought, okay, why not? I already gave you the APAN56 local organizing committee chair, right? So I'm like feeling bad. I don't have a chair. What is it? So you were the chair. So I thought, okay, so I'll be the chair. I'll also be one of the chairs. And we put together a few others. Vijay is here, one, and then we asked Professor Wang and a few others. Actually, my colleagues who are in the university, the young blood who can really run this. We are getting a bit older. So, and putting this together, we made it happen. And this Thursday, we are going to inaugurate the APAN56 conference, where we have a couple of keynotes in the theme of AI and HPC, and we have world-renowned, already it was mentioned by the APAN chairman about the keynotes. Plus, we also have research papers that are published. We got about, I think, about 40 papers submitted, and we have 10 plus papers for a day or a complete track. We are publishing it, and we are also working with Springer to bring that to like real publication indexed, going to be on a repo. So that's the first time we're going to do this. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, excited. Yeah.
I mean, it's quite challenging organizing a conference by itself. And it might have been quite exhausting, doing the conference with a different team while working on the main APAN meeting as well.
Yeah. Talking about challenges. You are telling me I'm doing challenges. And then what happened? Asita one day just woke up and put me a message saying, shall we do some more things? And the more things is about having a datathon or a hackathon for the students here, right? So very recently, actually, we were in the middle of struggling. Okay, so we don't have funds for the conference, the meeting to run. Then we have a conference to run, and now, Asita, you were talking about a datathon to do. Tell me about that.
Well, I mean, it's everybody's talking about AI hackathon or datathon. I mean, it's quite the trend, So
Yeah,
I was
trend
like,
is fine.
well, what the heck, we have things. Let's do a datathon as well.
Seriously, Asita, are you serious about it?
Of course. I mean, seriously. I mean, I had reasons to, a few reasons to organize or propose a datathon, especially targeting the undergraduates of Sri Lanka, specifically to give our Sri Lankan undergraduates a platform, a global platform, for them to showcase their potential, their capacity. And on the flip side, to expose our undergraduates to a global platform like APAN so that they will come to understand and appreciate the regional and global collaborations. And thirdly, to bring together multiple universities in Sri Lanka in working towards a common goal. Right? We have multiple universities working together to organize this datathon. And last but not least, to bring in the Sri Lankan IT industry so that they can come in and understand the bigger picture. So that's why I wanted to do it. Doing that is, of course, a different thing. And then we got another team to do that.
Yeah. So just to remind you, for the conference, we put together a team of about 10 people to run it. But then we had lot of researchers reviewing. So, like Springer has requirements like you have to have 3 reviews for each paper. Papers have to come from all these different places. You can't have the papers from the same institution submitted. All that taken care of. So there's a team about 10 people running that with all the support, lot of researchers doing reviews and all that. Then you came and said, okay, we'll do a data then. So the idea with the data then is we wanted to bring about 250 students in Sri Lanka together. So you had to take care of 250 students. I obviously don't have time, and you also don't. And then we put together another team. So another team of our colleagues from different state universities in the country. We took 4 universities, talked to them. Why don't you come together and do a datathon? And we won't give you anything actually, right? You're on your own. Find some funds and do it together, right? So that's where we started. And then we put together like institutions, universities, and then like companies, IT companies, and collected some funds. In fact, like the 4 or 5 companies coming together, various other entities like IEEE, societies and all that coming together. So you can go and find more details on the APAN website. So we called it APAN56 Datathon, targeting about 250 students. And it is run by about 10, like 4 academics or 5 academics and about 10 more volunteers. And it's happening today. It's starting today, not in this venue. It's a bit rich here, right? So another venue very close by. It's happening just about 2 kilometers or 1.5 kilometers from here, in a venue with about 200 students now. And it's happening from today 12 noon and till tomorrow 12 noon. So it's 24 hours. They are going to be there doing this data and hacking into data, right? So that's what they are doing. And yeah, it's rolling. Yeah.
And we'll bring the winner in.
Yeah. So we also wanted to bring them to our General Assembly on Friday. So those are not everyone, a few of them, because I don't have a space to put 200 more people here. So we'll bring about 10 or 15 or maybe 20 of them. So we'll bring 20 of them to the closing plenary to this, not the closing, the General Assembly. So General Assembly to the same place here, where they'll come and at least see what's going on here, a summary of all this. And the group here can also see what they have done. Yeah. We'll do a small summary at that time.
Yeah, we'll do. So, well, that's a lot of things. And you might think that, we had enough things by now. Nah. We're like, we're quite bored. What else can we do? So that's how the APAN magazine came about. Roshan, again, why don't you talk about that as well?
I'm tired now. Right. So we did one more thing, which is the APAN magazine. You came up with the name.
Yes.
We called it Nexus. Nexus stands for what, Pasida?
Center, connection,
connections of a lot of things together. So Nexus. So in fact, it was inspired again, like put it in Rene's word, stolen from TNC. Right. So TNC had Connect. Yeah. And we thought, okay, why not? We have something similar. Now that it's no longer a secret, right? Okay. So we put together another team to work on a magazine to tell APAN56 story. So it's a storybook, actually, not like anything else. It's a storybook of a few stories about how APAN grew, what's its vision, what's happening now, things like what Rene spoke about. There's a story about what he's doing as well. So we have put together a few stories, and we made a book, and the whole community supported, and particularly APAN supported with funding. And thanks to APAN for that. And we put to we did it in like 2-3 weeks, right? So I don't know. I don't know how we did it really. So in 2-3 weeks, we had back-to-back interviews in a week. We hired a team to do interviews. We had back-to-back interviews of 8 or 10 people. Those interviews just happened in a week. And then we wrote a story another week and printed in the third week. And we had a book here. Right? So that's what we did. Right? Yeah. And then, yeah, that's where we are.
Yes. So to officially launch the APAN Nexus magazine, I cordially invite the chairman of APAN, Professor Jilong Wang, on stage, and Professor Ragel to present it to Professor Wang.
So we have Vatsala here actually. She coordinated the whole work. So it's our idea, but we have people to execute them. Right? So that's the book. Nicely done with a lot of colorful pictures and photos. You all will get a copy. So let's give the first copy to the APAN chairman. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for all the support. You want to come to the mic?
Only want to say one word. So for this APAN meeting, it's so Sri Lanka.
It is. Thank you.
So you will only be getting your copy from the volunteers now. I hope you enjoy the stories within. Now we move on to another special, unique event, the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding for the East Asia Resilience Broadband Network collaboration. To take you through the proceedings, may I cordially invite the president of Singarain, Associate Professor Francis Bu Li Sang. Over to you, Francis.
Francis Edu, yeah.
Hi. Can you hear me? Great. Uh, it gives me great pleasure to stand up here. And we're going to sign a very, very important document. It's called the East Asia Resilient Backbone Network. I'm going to share a little bit about the what we are building together. And as Renee says, we work together and we build big things together for the whole community. I'm speaking on behalf of the partners of the East Asia Resilient Backbone Network. And I'll tell you how it will impact you. How can I advance this? I'm a faculty and where's the computer? Okay. This is a little map of 100 gig connectivities, or at least 10 gigabits per second connectivities around the globe. And if you look at it, there's quite good connectivity across the Pacific. Reasonably good connectivity from Asia to Europe, and also pretty good connectivity within the region. These networks are from the NRANs. It belongs to the NRANs. And let me cover a certain part of it. That's Europe and that's Asia. Back in 2021, 11 of us signed an MOU together to say that we will ensure that the network across the Pacific and Oceania, we will back up each other links during that period. And it has proven tremendously. University of Hawaii had the CUS link down for a long time. And thanks to RIANS, the traffic was true. So that's the importance of it. And to Europe in 2022, we renew our MOU with extended number of people, and that has 12 organizations doing that. Now, if you look at the intersection between the two rings, there's East Asia and Southeast Asia. That is very critical. That is the backbone. If that breaks completely, then everything will go to either US and come back if you want to communicate between the South and the North. And that's what it's all about. We're going to talk about today the East Asia Resilient Backbone Network. We have to build up that resilience within our backbone so that we can help researchers around the globe in Europe and US communicating with our region. Someone told me this over dinner and says, "Hey, this is like a major highway going up and down. We must keep it clear, keep it running, so that researchers can use it." In actual fact, when things go down, a lot of researchers doesn't even know about it because we have this agreement to back each other up. Here we have CSTNet, taken from Hong Kong down to Singapore, NII, which has a link from Japan to Singapore, and KISTI from Hong Kong to Korea and down to Singapore, and HARNET, which is a Hong Kong JUCC network, NICT, Japanese network, and Singaren. Together, we co-fund the link between Singapore, Hong Kong, and Japan. We work together, we co-fund it. We feel the importance of it for ourselves and for the region. What was the scope of collaboration that we wrote in this MOU? Supporting highly available connectivity among multiple partners. Okay. It's not only traffic of those 6 organizations, but other organizations within the region. We carry the traffic. Okay. We back up the traffic. And thirdly, cooperation and engineering. There's a lot of work going on down there so that we specify if a link breaks, how do we move on to the second link? We do not want to converge everything onto a single link. So how do we do the backup together? And tell you, Simon, the engineers meet very regularly, every 6 weeks, to sort things out, to understand what's the problem. And lately, we are going to go to another stage where we set it as a platform, where it's a common platform for all to use. Sato-san from KDDI has been a major player in it. And that's about all I want to say. But next, I'm going to ask signatories to come up to sign the MOU. I hope I can get the table. Um, okay, table's coming. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to ask each of the partners, signatories, to come up and sign the document in front of us. The East Asian Resilient Backbone Network is to serve you all. Okay. The first partner I'm going to call up is from CSTNet. That's China Science and Technology Network. And I'll hope I can get Professor Gao Yang Xia, who is from remote, to say a few words. Hi, is that Professor Gao Yang here? Can you say a few words?
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
please.
you. But
Mhm.
yeah, thank you, Francis. And dear APAN committee, to begin with, I would like to, on behalf of CSTNet and his manager institute, CINIC, I would like to express my great appreciation to the support of this collaboration. And I also appreciate the time and the effect to made in organizing such a great signature ceremony. As the first place of internet in China, CSTNet has development a national research network infrastructure, which connects most national research facility and the scientific communication and computing centers and also data centers in China. Our mission is to provide advanced information infrastructure service to support the research and driven by the big data and AI technology. And also we support, international scientists collaboration programs such as AIT and SKA, GSA, WLCG, and so on. Apart from scientific network infrastructure service, we also promotion science data sharing. In fact, we initiated the global Open Science Cloud program last year. I hope this collaboration can become, a great promotion on global research and education information infrastructure construction, and to enable more efficiency scientific resource service and also global research collaboration. In this, I think in this only way for us to realize the stable development goals and to find the new solution for example, future energy and public health and other science challenges. So thank you very much for the cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Gao Yang Jia. Now I'd like to invite the signatory representative Chen Yan Ning to sign on behalf of CSTNet. Thank you. Roger Wong from JUCC Hong Kong sent his apologies because there was a clash and would not be able to make it for this signing. So he sends his apologies. Our next call on Kisti, Bu Song Chu from Korea Institute of Science and Technology Information. Please come. He's the director of CreoNet to say a few words.
Okay. Hello everyone. This is Gu Sung from Korea. This is so meaningful moment for us to be here because as far as I know, it's our the first MOU among the China, Japan, and Korea and Singapore. We have known each other so many years and working together so closely, but this moment is this is a great step to the more working together more closely. It accelerates the science discovery, like already mentioned in the SKA and LTC and others, and also accelerates the digital transformation in East Asia area. And last is it will benefit for all APAN partners because yes, our network is always open and everybody can see and use our network. So I think it's a very good moment. And thanks for our local host and APAN locals to giving us the great moment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next, hold on. Next partner is NICT, National Institute of Information and Communication Technology. I'd like to invite Dr. Kojima Fumihide to say a few words.
Oh, okay. I'm Fumihide Kojima of NICT. First of all, I'd like to celebrate this our great achievement. And I'm currently Director General of the ICT Testbed R&D Promotion Center in NICT. And our most important mission is to provide the testbed environment in order to evaluate the future system and services that is expected in the beyond 5G or 6G era. And please remember that we have enjoyed the welcome dance in this ceremony that provides the perfect harmonization. Just like this, I will confirm that this our achievement will provide sophisticated harmonization that is constructed by people and technology and organization. Thank you very much again for this great achievement.
Thank you. The next partner is from NICT, National Institute of Informatics of Japan. NII, sorry. NII, National Institute of Informatics. Professor Takeshi Kurimoto. Okay.
My name is Takashi Kurimoto from Japan, and thank you for arranging this nice ceremony today. NII is very happy to join to this nice partnership for providing the high speed and high resilience network environment for the research and education communities. In addition to the existing connection and within the Asia Pacific region, I think this new China route is very attractive for enhancing the network resilience, and for more good collaboration in research and education communities. And congratulations and thank you for very much again today. Thank you.
The next partner in this signing is Singaren, and I'll be signing on behalf of Singaren. And frankly speaking, I'm really, really happy. The community is coming closer together, and we're working together, and that is a joy. And this is only the first stage. We're just signing an MOU to collaborate, and there are more things that we can do together, and that's something we should work towards. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So that's going to be the end of the session. Yeah, we took a little longer, told you some stories, and I hope we kept you entertained. And we'll hope that you all have a wonderful APAN56, which is started already. But yeah, that's where we are.
Yeah. And we hope to see you all in the evening at sundown. That is around 6 p.m. Near the checkerboard for the welcome dinner. We have a lot of entertaining items lined up for you. So hope to see you all at sundown near the checkerboard.
Thank you.
And goodbye for now.